Catherine Howard. Guilty? Catherine Howard was the 5th wife of Henry VIII. And it is part of my series on the 6 wives of Henry VIII of England that I want to discuss her life, but also her tragic end. I want us to reflect on her guilt. I want us to discuss the sources that have been left for us to look at what actually happened. You have a very excellent biography on Catherine Howard by the brilliant historian Gareth Russell, and I cannot highly recommend it enough for you because it is all you need to know about her. But in this video I'm also going to bring some interesting academic historical debates for us to discuss the life and death of the young and quite tragic Catherine Howard. We believe that Catherine Howard was born around 1524, but we're not exactly sure. What we know is that when she was betrothed and married Henry VIII, she was between 15 and 21, and Henry VIII was 49. So here we have a huge gap between them two. She was the daughter of Lord Edmund Howard and Joyce Culpeper. She was a cousin to Anne Boleyn, and she was the niece of Thomas Howard, the 3rd Duke of Norfolk and one of the granddaughters of the 2nd Duke of Norfolk. Thanks to her family connections, she secured a place in the household of Henry IV's wife, Anne of Cleves. And it's where apparently she caught the king's interest when everything fell through. As usual, Henry VIII jumped from one relationship to another, and 19 days later, after the annulment with Anne of Cleves, he was with Catherine Howard. But Catherine Howard has a story that is quite tragic, and I think that it's so very easy to judge her because the story, and especially when we compare her with Anne Boleyn and what happened, we know that Anne Boleyn was innocent of the accusations, ridiculous accusations made against her. We also know that it was kind of like a power struggle between different factions, and that the downfall of Anne Boleyn was the downfall of the Boleyn faction. With Catherine Howard, and as Gareth Russell himself explained in his biography on her, it is completely different. It is a different story. It is about misunderstanding, but it is also about lies, and I believe in many ways that she's the victim of all these people around her who claimed that they cared about her, and they ultimately completely failed her. In his book, Gareth Russell explained that the downfall of Catherine Howard took place from the 2nd of November 1541 up to the 13th February 1542. And he really goes into the details, the different accounts. He looks at Charles de Marillac, the French ambassador, but also Eustace Chapuis, that we love so much because he gives these very long letters full of details, full of gossips. And obviously we always have to be very careful when you look at different accounts. So the government, what they want you to know, what they want people to remember, but also with the ambassadors, they have their own political agenda. But yet when you piece them all together, then you have a kind of a clear idea, or clearer idea, of what actually happened. But it is still very important for us history lovers to be very careful when we look at the historical records, because not everything was written down, not everything, so there are so many oral conversations that were left out. But it's also important for us to remember that it's not about black and white. There's lots of shades of grey, and I'm sorry to make that joke now, but it is so important to remember that, especially when you look at the life and death of Catherine Howard. Catherine's real tragedy for me started when she was really young. Her mother died around 1528, so we believe that, she might have been just a few years old. And she was sent away to live with her father's stepmother, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk, Agnes Howard. And this is where everything went really badly for Catherine Howard. I even want to say that she was never given a chance to have a happy life. And hear me out. Why? The Duchess' house was not really a good place for people. A lot of people were actually living in her house, and she had other children or dependent of poorer relations, exactly like Catherine, that were living in the mix. And it is fair to say that the household was relatively lax in terms of discipline. There were men around living with all these young girls, and so this is where everything went really bad really quickly for Catherine Howard. She was groomed and probably sexually assaulted quite a few times by Henry Manox, her music teacher. When I say sexually assaulted, it is very hard to say in Tudor times because consent was not a concept that was really accepted at the time, and something that we still have to fight for today. So that's quite interesting to know that we haven't changed much in 500 years. But here there were a clear sexual relationship between her music teacher, Henry Manox, and Catherine Howard. It made her grow too quickly. It must have impacted her mental health or physical health, and it changed her life forever because of what's going to happen next for her. It has not only been one man who has been inappropriate with her. Francis Dereham, a gentleman of the household, also sexually assaulted Catherine a few times. And so Catherine Howard was seen as promiscuous. She was depicted as this young girl who was too attractive to resist. Some historians will tell you that Catherine wanted these relationships, and I believe that is very hard to know where is the line of consent when you're so young and you're left in a household without your family, and that you're left alone in this world, and that you have an interest from a man that can be kind of a father figure, and that you want to feel safe again, that you want to feel comfortable again. And especially with Francis Dereham, who was telling her, oh, you're my wife and I'm your husband, and he played on that, meaning that he was giving her some sort of stability. I don't believe that you can really say it is what she wanted. She was way too young for wanting these type of things to happen to her, or to be very clear in her mind of what was right or wrong. And what we know is that these two relationships are going to be her downfall in many ways, are going to bring the downfall to Catherine Howard, are going to stain her life and her chance of happiness forever. Catherine Howard eventually left, this madhouse, if I can call it that. She eventually served Anne of Cleves in her household and became a lady-in-waiting, as where she attracted the interest of Henry VIII, who was 49. So again, another man who was way older than her, way older than her, and who was going to show her interest. But it's not any man. This man is a king. And here, this little girl who's been abused, probably mistreated, has the chance of becoming queen, has the chance maybe of happiness. Maybe it's how she saw it. And she's going to become Queen of England. He has an interest in her. The annulment is proclaimed with Anne of Cleves, and everything goes so fast. And it's also alluring and kind of nice to be wanted and to finally have a little bit of power, being Queen of England, which means a bit of safety. The problem was, Henry VIII really believed that because she was around between 15 and 21, that, he really believed she was a virgin. He really wanted a virgin. And he had this idea of a pure, innocent girl, and all the secrets, all the past scandal of Catherine Howard's younger life, he had no idea. And everyone was trying to really conceal it, until they could no longer conceal it. Henry was so smitten with her that he even called her the rose without a thorn. This is the idea that she was completely different from all his former wives, especially Anne Boleyn, her cousin. Obviously, she had to be like to be seen as completely different. Though Anne Boleyn was innocent and would, you know, definitely never committed adultery against Henry VIII. It's mad to think that she would have. But so here, sort of rose without a thorn. She's pretty, she's beautiful, she's kind. She represents innocence and everything that Henry wants at 49 years old, which is a bit creepy when you think about it. Now, the story is that her real downfall was brought to because of a relationship with Thomas Culpeper, and it's believed that Henry was bad-tempered and in pain, and he was really an awful husband. He always had been. And so she kind of like could not resist this younger boy, for once a young boy, you know, someone's her age or more or less her age, was showing interest in her, and these two begin meeting in private and exchanging notes. Now I'm gonna pause on this for a minute, and I'm gonna discuss another book with you that I think you should read. It's Wicked Women of Tudor England, and it discusses in a chapter Catherine Howard, and I think it's absolutely brilliant when it comes to discussing what actually happened with Thomas Culpeper. For me, Retha Warnicke, the author of this book, makes a very good claim when she looks at the letters that Catherine Howard sent to Culpeper. She calls him Master Culpeper. Nothing very, you know, kind of sweet or shows closeness of anything. It shows actually some distance. And when she really analyzes the letters, she makes some very clear and good points, in my opinion. Retha Warnicke says that in that letter, loving, embracing, touching, kissing, Catherine wrote none of these amorous words in the letter. Besides, she makes a reference to one of her servants and the problem of obtaining a horse for him. So here we show that Catherine was more concerned with the rumours about her, you know, promiscuous lifestyle before, the fact that she was not a virgin, and there is no evidence of a true relationship between Culpeper and Catherine Howard. So now I think we can debate it, because I think that there are probably historians, other historians, who really think that actually it happened. But what I'm saying is that I believe that even if there had been a relationship between Thomas Culpeper and Catherine Howard, even if she was guilty, I think the ones who are really guilty were the members of her family who failed to protect her, to fail to protect her virtue, her safety, her physical safety, her mental health safety, and they completely let her grow up too quickly and left her feel insecure, because she was like, I mean, no one would protect her, and felt was such a need for love and appreciation that she would have probably fallen in love with anyone who would have shown her this type of affection. So that's my take on Catherine Howard. I think we need to be very careful when we judge her, because we need to look at the context and what actually happened. Catherine Howard was beheaded at the Tower of London on the 13th February 1542. It is said that she died with dignity, but I cannot help but imagine how she must have felt that everyone had given up on her, that no one had truly looked after her or loved her. And I think that is quite why Catherine Howard's life and death is truly so tragic. And I think that's why I have a little thing for her, because I really wish somehow, she's one of the 6 wives where I wish like someone could have protected her, and I feel so sad that no one did. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to watch my other videos on the 6 wives. You can also watch Once Upon a Woman. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on powerful women or misunderstood women. I love this channel so much, and I'm so grateful for you guys, for you who are watching, commenting. It means a great deal to me, so thank you so very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.